Hi everyone, this is Smriti Mishra from BrandWagon Online, and today I have with me Menno Kluin, who is the Chief Creative Officer of Dentsu Creative USA. Hi Menno.
Hi.
So I have a few questions with you in terms of the overall advertising landscape. So if you can just start by giving me a brief on how has the advertising industry evolved, especially during the ongoing pandemic, what are the changes that have been brought in by the pandemic within the industry?
Well, changes are always afoot within advertising, right? Part of the trick of advertising is you have to go with the change and even theoretically, hopefully, be ahead of it, right? Because if you're providing a service to your clients and therefore a service to the consumer, you have to be ahead of everything. The biggest shifts that we see in pitches and client requests are just larger ecosystems that go all the way from brand all the way down to demand, right? So drive sales, performance assets, large quantity, personalized, large ecosystems of assets across the board, but still retaining a strong brand identity, purpose. That it's all really connected through increasing amounts of assets. If that's pandemic related or not, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because of kind of like the need to always drive sales, but at the same time as well, build your brand over time.
Right. Since you just mentioned about purpose, I also wanted to understand that during the pandemic, it was most of the brands, took to purpose-driven marketing, advertising,
Right.
communicating more about purpose over products.
Right.
So, should this as a strategy continue over a period of time, or do you think brands will move back to, creating the product as a hero?
I personally hope the latter.
Yeah.
I think, everybody is starting to play within the purpose world. And just because of that notion, I think, it's time to move on and move away. Do brands continue to play a role in the lives of consumers and move certain conversations forward? Absolutely. But I think it has to be a balance, again, between product, brand, and purpose. Just a quick example on Oreo. We do a lot of brand activations, with like you saw Game of Thrones and Pokemon, and we do purpose on the side, but purpose is not the core. Brand, product has to come through. And we're in the business of selling, so that has to remain.
Right. And how important is storytelling when it comes to communications?
Of course, well, it can't be everything all the time because, again, like I said, the asset ecosystem becomes larger and larger, right? In a 7 second or 6 second or however many second, it's harder to do, obviously. But storytelling remains a big part of who brands are, what they represent, the routines and rituals that these brands and products play in the consumers' lives. So, of course, it plays a role, but it's not all the time in everything. At least for us, it's not.
Right. And since you operate in different markets, I wanted to understand, when it comes to the Indian market, how is it different from the other markets across the globe?
Hard to tell for me because my first time in India. I can just see what I see from abroad. But I see a lot of interesting ideas come out of India. And maybe that's the most important thing. Ideas, like singular ideas that resonate, that can play across, social experiments, that can play across purpose as well, of course, and that can play across technology. So ideas more at the center of it, and it seems to be that there more and more ideas start to appear from India as a country.
Right. And, given the importance of digital as a medium, what are your suggestions to advertisers? Should there be a different strategy in terms of different platforms? How can you communicate your message across, as in you can put out one campaign across different platforms?
Difficult question. Because again, like, it depends on the situation, depends on the brand, but depends on the maturity, depends on where you are, depends on the immediate goals. And I would start there. What is the North Star of what you're trying to accomplish? If you're trying to accomplish cultural resonance, then digital means something different than, let's say, personalization, Facebook, any of the other type of channels. But start with the North Star, start with what you're trying to accomplish, and then kind of like work your way back to the channels. The channels are not the idea. Like, the ideas get made custom for the individual platforms. And again, like digital means so many things. So start with the problem statement, start with what you're trying to accomplish, and then work your way back.
Right. One last thing would be, how can Indian brands, in terms of
Yeah.
communication, stand at par with the global level?
On a global scale, but again, like probably best example is Oreo. Oreo, we have a strong sense of brand. We have a strong sense of who they are and what role they play in the lives of the consumers. And whether you're an Indian brand or a Western brand or an Indonesian brand or whatever, it doesn't necessarily matter as long as you have a strong sense of self as a company, as a brand, as a product, then everything else flows from that. So I'm assuming people are the same in India as they are everywhere else. So it's just a strong sense of self, strong sense of identity, strong sense of brand, and then the work should flow from that.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Thank you for having me.